Welcome to the Back on Track podcast with me, Sam West. In every episode, I interview someone who's changed, recovered, or become successful after having faced real adversity in their life. What's more, at the end of every episode, guests give you a few bits of advice which you can use to improve your own life too. On today's episode is Raül, who's a good friend of mine that was severely bullied throughout his teenage years simply because of his sexuality. The homophobic abuse and everything that came with it eventually led to him becoming depressed and even considering taking his own life. Incredibly, Raül found the strength inside him to stand up to the culprits and even ended up making them some of his good friends. He also sought out help in the form of therapy to help him try and recover from the years of torment, and I'm really pleased to say that he's now living a much happier life. So, without further ado, let's find out what happened by listening to his story from start to finish. As you know, I always like to go back to the start with my guests, find out where things all started, starting from the beginning. So if you could just tell us a bit about where you're from, where you grew up, and what life was like for you in those early teenage years.
Yeah, well, I'm from Spain, and I grew up in a little tiny town. The story happened when I was a teenager. I was around 16, and well, I had a beautiful life. My family is amazing. All my friends were really, really nice, and well, everything just started when I was 16. Like when things start to change and people grow up, and the relations change a bit because you need to have a girlfriend or you are finding yourself in discovering your sexuality, and everything changed for me. Yeah, like from having a wonderful life to have one of the worst time in my life.
And so you started suffering with, being bullied and homophobic abuse and all of these terrible things that nobody should have to go through. Could you just explain to us a little bit about how that was for you?
I mean, everything started one day. I was at the school, and then a guy who was popular, he just wondered why I didn't have a girlfriend. So he said, "Well, maybe you're gay," and I couldn't hide because I turned red, and I was like, "What?" I knew it already. I knew that I was different, and I didn't know why should hide my sexuality to be accepted. So I didn't say anything. So everyone was like, "Oh, maybe you are, and everything started from that. And yeah, basically, it was little by little, but built it up in something really bad for me because they bullied me a lot on the school, and they put me apart. Like they wouldn't invite me to any parties, they wouldn't invite me to anything. So I ended up being alone by myself. And I didn't understand why, because I was young, first of all.
Yeah.
And second of all, I thought I wasn't doing anything wrong, So then I started to wonder why I'm suffering this, why people bullied me, why people is like telling me I'm not deserving to be alive, or also sometimes that I was walking, holding hands with my mom, walking through the city, and they started like bullying me, insulting me, and my mom is also really sensitive, so I was just trying to like protect her more than me. And I was just like, "No, that's not for me, Mom. They are not bullying me. I'm fine." Because I knew it, that if I tell her, she would be suffering a lot.
Wow.
So it was even harder, because when something like that happened, and then you feel free to tell your parents, who are the one who need to help you out or protect you, you feel more protected. But I couldn't, because I felt like, no, I can't say that to my mom because I would make her like miserable.
I think that's so sad. But at the same time, Raül, it says incredible things about you, that you were going through that incredible suffering And instead of thinking about yourself first, you were actually thinking about your mum. And it was more important to you in your eyes that she wasn't worried than your actual feelings, which I just think is incredibly selfless. And the worst thing about this, or one of the many bad things about this, is that it actually resulted in you sort of becoming depressed, having depression, and that sort of led you down, made things even worse. Could you just tell us a bit about how you were feeling mentally?
Well, I mean, in the beginning, I was like fighting. I was like, when people like insulted me or something like that, I just stood up, like, don't say that to me. And I was fighting to everyone. But by the end, as the days goes, I felt like maybe they are right. Maybe I don't deserve to be alive, or maybe what I am is wrong. So then this feeling started to be more inside of me, and deeper and deeper and deeper, until I thought, well, they are right. I'm not deserving to be alive. So I was terribly sad. I was suffering a lot. And I thought that no one could understand, because I don't know, you can be sad because something bad happened to your life, but be sad because of what you are, it's something completely different.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't know, if you are not sure and if you don't like yourself, then you are not powerful to like fight for life, Then I just went down, down, down until I just was so depressed that, as I told you, one day I tried to commit suicide. That was one of the worst days in my life. I thought that I couldn't make it anymore, and I didn't even want to do it. I didn't have the power and the energy. I was like, no, I don't want to. Now it's fine, and I don't. This is life, I don't want to live this kind of life.
I mean, I can see the pain in your eyes when you talk about it now, even though it was, all those years ago. I can see that pain in your eyes. And yeah, it really broke my heart when you explained to me, the day or the night where it all came to a head. I think they invited you to a party or something, right? And then told you that you actually weren't invited when you arrived, and that led to you, going home and then, terribly, sadly, considering committing suicide. Yeah, if you could just talk us through that day.
I mean, before I couldn't even talk about this day, because it was something that it was so deep in my soul that I couldn't even speak about it. But now I'm just telling this because I feel proud of myself that happened, and this is part of my story because it makes me the person that I'm now. But Joshua, that day was like all the rest of the day, like no one would talk to me and they wouldn't invite me to anything. So a friend of mine says, well, you can just come to my house. I'm having a birthday party and you can just join us. So I was so happy because I thought, well, maybe everything finished. Like maybe everything changed into something better. So I got some money saved. I got a present for her. I went to her house, and when I got there, I knocked the door, and they wouldn't open the door. So they started to insult me like, "You're gay, you're fag, and you are not welcome in this house." So then I said, "Well, you can just talk to the gather." She invited me. She invited me, and then she came and she said, "I'm not sorry, I didn't invite you." So my heart was completely break, and I didn't know what to do because also my mom was really happy about me because she knew I was kind of sad because no one wanted to invite me to anything. So in that time, I thought, okay, I just need to do something. I cannot go back to my house and tell my mom what happened because I'm gonna make her sad. So I just made everything up. Like I just went by myself to have some dinner. Then I threw the present to the garbage.
Wow.
And then once I came back home, I was like, all right, this is not for me. So I went to the bathroom. I took a knife. And I wasn't that sure if I wanted to quit my life in that time. But I was sure that I didn't want to have this time. I was enough. It was enough. I was like, okay, I was over it. So I went to the bathroom. I knocked the door, and I just cut my veins. And what happened was that I started to bleed a lot. And by that time, I was checking myself in the mirror, and then I was like, "Listen, this is something serious. No, if you go deeper, probably you die." And then in that time, I thought something like, "No, listen, I'm pretty sure this is not the life that I'm gonna live." So I started to cry. I was bullied. I was crying so much, and then I thought, all right, I gotta change this. I have to do something with this, and I don't know. I just fixed it the way I could. I went to the hospital with my aunt. She helped me, and then I said, "Well, please don't tell my mom." And then I just went to the psychologist because I knew that time couldn't be like this for longer, because it was like destroying my life, and it was destroying the person that I was.
Yeah.
I couldn't see more who I was because I hired my personality for so long that I just forgot who I was. Then I think that because of that, it's something changed on you. Like it walks next to you through your life. And if you don't change it and face it, saying like, listen, I'm not like this, and I know who I am, and I'm gonna fight.
Yeah.
Because I want to be happy.
I think that's you showed incredible resilience there, Raul, to fight back against all of this, and rather than take that route, you decided that you were going to make this whole situation better. You were going to find the strength within yourself, which must have been so hard to do, being that age and being bullied and having abuse from all angles and no one really to support you. And also, I just want to say, I appreciate so much you sharing that story with us here and now. It's an incredible intimate moment of your life, but I think it's also incredibly important that people hear that, because I think sometimes people don't understand the weight that their words and actions carry, how they can truly make someone feel. And we're hearing here in detail, exactly what this nearly made you do, and people need to be more aware of that. Another thing I wanted to ask you about this is, I'm pretty sure, sadly, that this sort of homophobia and bullying still happens in schools, be that in Spain or here in the UK. I'm sure it happens. What do you think we can do as a society in the education system or whatever it might be? What can we do to try and stop this kind of homophobia?
They never teach you that there is other people different than you. So because you don't learn that in the school, you think that everyone should be exactly the same you are. So you go against people who are different. But to me, difference is what makes us special. And I don't know, but something should change. Like in the schools, they need to like teach the young people that to be different, it's something good. That's why we are called human. Otherwise, we be called robots.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it still makes me sad, because I know this is something that happened when you are young. That probably people who doesn't experience that, probably they think, okay, come on, this is something that happened when you were young. But this is something that goes with you forever. And if you don't fight, as I said, against that, it changes.
Absolutely.
Change the way you think. It changes the way you do things in life. Because I remember when I finished high school, I was about to go to uni, but then because I couldn't believe in myself, still, even though I was just more like recover, and obviously I was better than I was before. I was feeling better, sorry. Still, I had that feeling that I wasn't enough. And this is something so hard to take it out of your system,
Yeah.
to take it out of your mind. It is really, really hard. The hardest thing is not to fight against depression. It is to fight against what you think about yourself. Because I was constantly just telling to myself, this kind of little voice that everyone had on your brain was always telling me. I was always telling me, you cannot do it. You are not enough.
Well, the thing is you had been conditioned to think that through all of the, years of bullying in school and all of the things that people have said to you. And, whether people like it or not, you can try and sort of resist it. But at some point, as your case proves, you start to believe, sadly, the things that they were saying about you. One thing that you mentioned there, Raul, was that you went to see a psychologist, and I think that's a really interesting point. So, yeah, did you start therapy, and what effect did that have on you?
Yeah. So when I started to get better, I knew I still had a lot of work to do in myself. I knew I have to work in myself a lot. So I just went to a psychologist. The first one, I did not connect with him because I always tell my friend, like, people always ask me, oh, I really want to go to this therapist or psychologist or whatever. And I'm always saying, like, listen, it is a research. It is
Yes.
not just because of the fact that you are a psychologist, it means that they're going to help you out. Because it's something about connection. It's something about how you feel when you tell your shit.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
someone can be like, oh yeah, understand, and just be like, taking notice or something like that. And you feel like you are like a weirdo, like I'm something weird.
It takes real courage to, when you take that initial jump, which is difficult in itself to go and see a therapist, is something that people put off for years and years. And it's something that I also put off myself. I was in that boat. Maybe I thought maybe I thought that was going to mean I was crazy or something like that. And in reality, that's not the case. We go to the gym to improve our physical health. We should go and see a therapist to improve our mental health, right?
Who is not crazy, son?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
The best people are the craziest.
Exactly, that is true. We all have a little bit of crazy, don't we? And you are right. And obviously not to extremes which affect other people badly, but we should try and embrace it where possible. But what I was going to say is, I had a similar experience to you. The first therapist that I reached out to or whatever didn't connect. I didn't connect with that one, and it was really difficult to pick myself back up and want to find another one. So what I'm trying to say is, again, I think it shows resilience that at the age of 16 or 17, when you first saw this therapist, it wasn't for you, and you continued. And did you find another one?
As you said, when you go and because it's not that easy. First of all, you have to clear up your mind, saying like, okay, if I'm going and visit a therapist, doesn't mean that I'm crazy. It means that I just need to like someone to help me out or just to show me the way I need to fight with all this shit and just, recover by myself.
Yeah.
So when you have this kind of experience, you always just like go and think like, okay, so maybe I'm doing wrong, or maybe this is not for me. And yeah, and I always said, it doesn't match, then just go and find someone else. So I went and I got a friend who had a psychologist. She introduced me. So I liked her a lot since the first moment, because when we started to talk, she said, I'm not the one who gonna cure your heart. I'm not the one who is like giving you everything for you, like, okay, this is the result, everything is over. I'm the one who is gonna fight next to you and showing you the ways you need to follow. So when she said so, I was like, oh my God, maybe you are the one.
Yeah, that's a beautiful metaphor, isn't it? That, I'm going to fight, that I'm going to be the one fighting next to you. That's beautiful. Yeah.
It was because, there is many people that goes to the therapy and they just think, okay, I'm going to the therapy, so I'm going to get better and better and better. But that's not like that. It's a lot of self-work. You have to work in yourself like every single day. When I wake up, all the phantoms, all the ghosts that was in my backpack were like knocking, like, hi, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. At first I was so scared that I was like, I don't know if I can make it. But then you fight, and then the next day you wake up and you fight even harder until you start to become better and a better person.
Yeah, absolutely. And so how long did it take before you started feeling better in yourself after that low moment, at the age of 16 or 17, after that party and everything that happened? How long did it take you to start discovering yourself and finally feeling better?
I think 31 years.
Yeah. Until now. Yeah.
Until now, yeah, sure. I mean, I consider myself a strong person.
Oh yeah.
You know me.
Yeah.
I'm always like positive and seeing through positive things in life. So I was recovering faster because also things change. Like they wouldn't bully me anymore because I was fighting. So then everyone who was bullying me, they became my friend. So
Wow, really?
yeah, sure. They were like one of my best friends by the end.
Really?
It took me a lot of time. So yeah, I was
Wow.
so into it. I was like, no, come on, I want to change this. When they were playing football, they were like, no, you are not invited. And I was like, I'm not moving. I'm staying here.
Wow.
If you don't
Yeah.
want to, then you don't play. So one day to the other, one day, until they say, all right, you can just play.
Wow. The strength that it must have taken to confront the situation like that and, effectively sit there and say, you know what, fuck you. Like, I'm here. I'm not going to move, until you have a change of opinion, that's incredible. And so to this day now, are you friends with some of the people that played a part in bullying you before? And is that difficult for you in some way? Or do you think, are you someone that just thinks that was then, they were young, maybe not educated about these things, and we have to forgive and move on? What's your way of analyzing that?
That's the thing. When you are young, you blame them. That's the first feeling that you feel. Huh? It's like, it's them fault. It's not mine. Why did I have to go through this shit? I did not deserve it. So you are more like negative.
Yeah.
You are a negative person because you feel like I shouldn't be in that situation. Why I was. But then as you grow, as you understand yourself better and your personality grows, And then you just feel like, all right, maybe they were younger. I mean, maybe they were young, or then I knew that some of them had some problem at home, and then I was like, all right. So, but it was hard to forgive it.
I can imagine, and again, I think it just says such brilliant things about you and your character that you were able to forgive, and what a story that some of the people that drove you to those darker steps back in those days are actually now some of your friends, and I think that gives also some hope to some people listening. Like, you would never have expected when things were at their worst that you were going to end up being great friends with these people. I'm not saying everybody has to forgive, some people can't, and that's a personal choice, but fantastic that you were able to.
I'm grateful that happened to me, because it makes me stronger. It makes me more the true, like, probably if that wouldn't happen to me, maybe I wouldn't discover myself that much, But now, maybe not 100%, because I don't think everyone knows themselves 100%. But I know myself a lot, and I'm always trying to do not complain about life anymore, and I'm not trying to be more a victim.
Well, again, I think that's really inspiring, and you can always find diamonds in the mud. To use the expression, you can be going through the worst situation, but actually, as in your case, that teaches you so much about yourself. You finally find out who you really are, and some people go their whole lives without knowing that. So there's a big gap between sort of that time when you turn things around and turn these people into friends, and now at the age of 31. Now, obviously, we can't fill in all of those years in extreme detail due to the time. I know you've got plans this evening, but how has the journey been from then to now? Was it all the way up from there and things were a lot better, or have there been ups and downs along the way? Talk us a little bit through that journey from then to now.
Sure. I mean, everyone is like having ups and downs, I mean, if you ask someone like, are you always happy? If that person say yes, probably is lying.
Yes. Yeah.
Probably is lying, or maybe they don't know themselves that much, because, life is hard, but it's also beautiful in the other way, So in that gap of time from when everything happened till now, I had beautiful and wonderful times, and also I had really, really bad time. But as I said, what happened to me, it helped me out to like face this bad time into something better, to change it. Like, all right, maybe this is not that good, but I will just try to make it better. I would just put a big smile on my face and go and see what happened.
Wow, that's such a beautiful way of putting it. It really is. So, in the here and now, Raul, how would you say you're feeling, mentally, and what are you doing at the moment? How is life for you compared to your worst moments, back at the age of 16 to now? How much better are you feeling? How are things going?
I'm feeling a lot better. Well, first of all, when everything happened, after like 1-2 years, I moved to Italy. So I cannot break the fear to like move out of the town. And since I break that feeling, I was like, maybe I could do whatever I want. So as you know, I had lived in many places, and I had really beautiful times, but also I had really hard time. And now it's kind of a mix, because of everything that I had in the past, good and bad things, and mixed with the person that I'm now. I feel a lot older, which is like You can tell if I see a picture when I was 16. Now I'm like, okay, I'm getting older.
Yeah.
Well, but what I'm saying, like, I feel like a good adult, you know? And I'm just trying to like teach my sister something good about life, you know? She's younger than me, she's 16 now. So I'm giving her the option to choose her sexuality, to choose what she want to do in life, choose everything, and just walk with her, not like press or anything like that. And yeah, I'm a stronger, so everything, every time and then that I hear something that is not right or something that it doesn't sound good for me, I always step up and say like, "What?" You know, and fight against other people who are bullied or
Yeah, I see on your social media you regularly post about, various different injustices and discrimination and hate and stuff like that. And I think that's incredible that you feel even more passionate about that nowadays, because you were a victim of hate and discrimination. So that makes you want to fight against it even more, I guess.
sure, because when you had such a bad experience, you don't want anyone else to pass through this. Even though now I'm saying that it was something good because it made me the person that I'm now. No one deserved that, you know. No one deserved that, and especially when you're young, because you don't have the power to fight. Mm. So yeah, it makes me more courage to fight. You're like, okay, this is not right. This should change, and I just want everyone happy, free, and that's it.
Well, I think that's a fantastic thing to want, and you're a great advocate for these kind of things. And I've got so much respect for you taking that view on things and being passionate about eradicating discrimination and making things fair and all the rest of it. Raul, as you know, the way I like to finish off these podcasts is by getting guests to give listeners a few bits of advice. Should they ever find themselves going through a similar situation, or perhaps not going through a similar situation, perhaps there's someone listening who is just going through, a really tough time themselves, but they can still take some learnings from your story. So yeah, I'll let you take that the way that you want to. But yeah, what were some of the key things that helped you get out of your darkest moments that you could share with us?
Well, maybe they are not passing through the same because it's not about you're gay or but maybe because you are black, maybe because you are fat, maybe because you whatever. Like people always press or people always goes against someone different, as I said. And to that people that is passing now through this moment, I would say like just first of all, do not believe what the people say because everyone is wonderful in their own.
Absolutely.
Second of all, tell everyone if you need help because if it's something that you can manage, everyone need help. And then if it's like you have passed through this and now you're feeling not that good with yourself, try to find someone that help you out, like an expert, therapy, psychologist, whatever you need, because they are there because of that. If you need help, it's like if you're feeling sick, then you go to the doctor. So if you are feeling not that well with your feeling or with your brain or whatever happens, you need help. So then you just go to a therapy. There is nothing wrong about it. There's nothing wrong. There's many good things about that. It will help you out to like be a better person and be the truly person you are.
Absolutely. I think there are three really useful and important bits of advice there. And I agree, so much with the point about therapy, especially. And also, I think we need to change the perception that therapists are only there for when you are at a crisis point, at a breaking point. therapy is not only there for that. Earlier in the podcast, I used the example of, going to the gym to improve your physical health. I'm a firm believer that there is nobody out there that can't benefit from therapy. So even if, you don't think you're at a crisis point, it's still something that's worth exploring. Like, we can always try to become better people, understand ourselves better, and be better mentally. Who couldn't be a little bit happier, a little bit more comfortable with themselves? So, I don't think you necessarily have to be at a breaking point to want that kind of help.
Yeah, sure. Like, happiness is not like something that you have to reach. Happiness is something that goes with you like day by day. And so maybe one day you're happy, maybe the next one you feel a little bit depressed. And that's something that is okay. So for wherever or whenever you feel that way, just go and tell someone, talk about it, be positive, and start the basic.
Yes. Yeah, those are the basic things. Yeah, there's a lot more to it, of course. But another thing that I love that you said, and you have said throughout this podcast, is that, our differences are beautiful. It's what make people. We'd all be robots if we were the same. So we need to get more into celebrating difference, and things are progressing, but there is more that we can do. And I've got so much respect for you, Raül, coming on and sharing your story. It's an incredibly brave thing to do. And I just hope that, there'll be someone listening that this could help. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you, Sam. It was kind of hard, especially because it's not my mother language.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm sorry if some things I say it wrong.
Don't be silly. You did an incredible job to, as I speak Spanish, but I was thinking, talking about such intimate things in a second language, no matter how well you speak it, and you speak English very well, it's, it's incredibly difficult, isn't it?
It is the most difficult thing, because you know the way you feel, but to express yourself is something that is like, wow.
Absolutely. Well, I've got even more respect for you for doing it in English. It's it was an incredibly brave thing to do. And who knows, maybe we'll do one in Spanish later down the line for a different audience. But yeah, for now, Raül, I'll let you go out and enjoy your evening. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Sam.
That's it for today's episode, guys. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, make sure you subscribe. And above all, thanks a lot for watching. If you've got a story you want to share on the Back on Track podcast, get in touch, give me a shout. I'd love to hear from you via info@backontrackpodcast.com.